we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right. How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. We are back for another week. And today we're going to catch up on all the results over the weekend. There is still one Premier League game to go. Manchester United against Wolves tonight, but we will catch up on that tomorrow. But it was a very, very interesting opening week. In the Premier League, some good results in there and some good games. It all kicked off on Friday evening and it was Burnley against Manchester City. And did you really think there was going to be any result other than a Manchester City win? I know Vincent Kompany was going back against Manchester City, first Premier League game. They were unbelievable last season. And they're a completely different Burnley side now. This is not the Sean Dyche, type of side. They're a very good side. But in the Premier League, if they defend with such naivety and if they continue, to concede goals in the way that they did against Man City, and I know it's Man City and I know it's Erling Haaland and everything else, but I think that Burnley could struggle this season if they don't sort that side of their game out. But it was an opening win for Manchester City. Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. I've obviously been over that in detail, in my match reaction after the game and everything. But it was a 2-1 win. The scoreline will suggest it was a really tight game. But it actually wasn't. First half in particular, we should have been out of sight. Second half wasn't the greatest of performances. Levels dipped a bit. Jurriën Timber picked up an injury. And then we had to kind of hold on a little bit at the end. But it's the opening, game and it's 3 points in the bag. Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. And I think Sheffield United may well struggle this season. They've lost some key players. And when I watched the highlights of this one as well, Crystal Palace looked quite comfortable. And I feel that, Bramall Lane's not going to be an easy place to go for a lot of teams this season. But I just don't think Sheffield United are going to have enough, to be quite honest with you. And it's a good 3 points, for Crystal Palace. One part of that game was Roy Hodgson when he got a bit of a barge. And the man might be nearly 80 years old, but he was not having it. But yeah, a little funny side to that one. Bournemouth against West Ham. Two sides that I feel will struggle this season. West Ham, I know now they've brought in James Ward-Prowse, but I don't think he's going to be enough to stop them from fighting relegation. He wasn't enough to stop Southampton being relegated last season. West Ham need a lot more than just him. And in my opinion, they need a new manager. I know David Moyes won the, whatever it was called, trophy last season and whatnot. But, nah. I think that's the worst thing that probably could have happened to West Ham because they're now stuck with him for a bit longer. And that's being, with all due respect. But there, 1-1 in that game. Brighton, they won what looks like a comfortable game, 4-1. But this wasn't as comfortable as you may think against Luton. Luton had their chances. Luton done quite a few things in this game. And it was just, again, a bit of naivety, a bit of schoolboy defending, mistakes, stuff that they can probably get away with in the Championship and League One, etc. But you cannot get away with it in the Premier League. It's a harsh lesson, and I think they'll learn from that. I feel that playing at Kenilworth Road is where, things will even itself out a bit with Luton. And yeah, I suppose their fans are enjoying the moment and everything else. I had a few of my mates go to the game and they just love being in the Premier League. But they're not going to want this to be, one of those where they just came in and then they're out straight away and they spend years in the Championship. They want to be a Premier League team. And there's a new stadium on the horizon and everything else. But I just feel this season, Luton can cause some problems at home, and there were moments in that game where I thought, they will cause, teams some problems. So it's going to be an interesting one. But Brighton, Very, very comfortable, to be honest with you, in some respects. They played some good football. And that's what Brighton do now. And yeah, some contentious moments in there, penalties and stuff. And yeah, I'm not even going to get into a VAR debate on a Monday morning on the first weekend of the season, but there we go. Everton, they lost at home to Fulham. Now, I know you'll look at that and you'll think, here we go, Everton, problems already. But the game is very much different to the scoreline, and Everton should have won this game, to be honest with you. But I think Everton's biggest problem is scoring goals. It was the same last season, and they had multiple chances to win this game. But that's what happens when you have Neil Maupay as your striker. Bang average, and he's not going to go and win you games. It's simple as that. But Fulham, great 3 points for them. Newcastle against Aston Villa, the result of the weekend, 5-1. Aston Villa looked an absolute shambles, and they were all over the place. And yeah, it doesn't help when Tyrone Mings picks up what looks like an ACL injury. It does not look good at all. That was horrific when you see the video of how his knee went. But Newcastle, they were absolutely immense. And St James's Park is going to be such a tough place to go to this season. The Geordies are absolutely up for it. They're loving life at the moment. Fair play to them. And like I said, it's going to be a really, really tough place to go for a lot of teams. So fantastic win for Newcastle to start off their season. Going to the Super Sunday games, Brentford against Spurs. And this game finished 2-2, an eventful game. Spurs took the lead. Brentford went 2-1 ahead. Of course, they're playing without Ivan Toney at the moment. And then Spurs equalised. And I think it was a fair result, to be fair. You know, life after Harry Kane for Tottenham. One note that I was looking at when watching this game was the Tottenham goalkeeper. He looks calamitous. He genuinely does not look great at all. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he does and whether he can adapt to life in the Premier League, because he did not look good at all. And that's definitely going to be a weak area for Spurs, in my opinion. But, you know, the result was shared, and it was a fair result, to be honest. The big game of the weekend was Chelsea-Liverpool. And it was kind of a predictable result, as most of their games are, a draw, 1-1. Couple of goals disallowed, VAR. Liverpool started the game brilliantly. And then Chelsea took hold of the game. To be honest with you, I thought they were the better side. But over the course of the 90 minutes, looking at that, they were two very, very average teams, to be honest with you. Liverpool, the biggest worry for them is defensively. They do not look good defensively. They are so easily got at. So that would be something to keep an eye on, and whether that gets rectified before the window shuts, or whether this is how Liverpool are going to try and play. But yeah, it was an interesting game, but yeah, 1-1. So listen, that is it for today's DT's Daily. That was the results over the course of the weekend. There were some interesting games in there. Of course, there's Manchester United against Wolves tonight. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about the games over the weekend. What was your standout performance? For me, it was Newcastle's win against Aston Villa. And yeah, it's you know, a good weekend, good start to the Premier League. And yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next round of games. And yeah, we'll see what happens in those. So if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you smash a like on this video. Press the bell for the notifications as well. And I will see you lot very soon. I'm out of here.